This is Gear Fluent. We're doing today gear dump. Just got out of the backcountry for 13 days. We were on the south slope of the Brooks Range in northern Alaska, and just wanted to go through all the gear that I brought. First up, first line of defense is your feet. I did my last video was on all the other Garmont boots that I used, and I talked about these a little bit. They were at that point untested, and I was gonna see how they did on this trip. They did really well. These are the waterproof version, and they held right up. They're comfy enough. They're waterproof enough. The only issue I ever had was when I was wearing rain pants. The water did end up running down on top here, got soaked up into all these laces and all this, soft stuff in the tongue here. So I think probably the best move would be to have some gaiters. I did not have gaiters, and I think that would have really improved it. But honestly, like, we were moving through super marshy stuff all day, every day, stepping in and out of water, and I never had a failure on them because of that. The only failure was the rain, washing down the rain pants every day. So so those are awesome. They dried out quick too. When I set them out, I could usually just take them off when the sun came out in the middle of the day, and they'd dry out enough to wear them back just fine. So that's the first bit. Second bit of footwear, just some camp sandals, super useful. Especially when you're getting up in the middle of the night. You don't want your feet to be all dirty and have to wipe them off when you come back in into your tent. That's just a down jacket. That's the Spyfire from Cool. They're a Utah-based company. They do great work. I've had this coat for 5 or 6 years, 5 years, and it's been awesome. I snowboard in this just with a base layer on underneath. It's light, packs up real small, but it's super, super warm. Again, dries out quick. Just a little reflective thing that we brought. We hung that on the tent just in case we were coming back and it was dark and we were getting lost. We could see it with our headlights. Way up there, it's still in early September, mid-September, wasn't getting dark until super late, so we never even used our headlamps outside of the tent. But something to think about if you want it. Headlamp, just regular Petzl headlamp. Brought extra batteries, of course. The water treatment deal here, this is the Aquamira, the 2-part drops solution instead of the tablets. I've heard the tablets taste nasty. This one gave me no negative flavor. I think the negative flavor was just because it was a nasty lake we were drinking out of. Little shovel there for doing your business. That guy worked out pretty good. It's got these little ridges on there, and those helped cut through any roots or like the tundra that was super thick. Cut right through it. I got tape around the handle because that whole thing's just titanium, and even with the tape, if you're not wearing a work glove, then it hurts like crazy to try and use this thing. Some electrolytes and caffeine, camp spoon and fork. Bug spray up there. We didn't really have bugs as a problem. Flagging tape, just if you want to mark your kill or mark a spot where you've been glassing or whatever, that's a good thing to have. Sunglasses, these are nice to have. This guy's pretty cool. This is a tarp. My wife got me this for Christmas last year, I believe. And it's just a super light waterproof tarp. It packs down a lot smaller than how it's packed right now, but I have not only the tarp, but I've got the paracord tied onto the guy outs, and then I've got, I think, 6 tent stakes in there too. So tarp alone packs down to super small, and it weighs nothing. That's from Bora Gear. They're a little company in Montana, and that's BORAH, and this thing is fantastic. It's waterproof. We used that a couple of times as a rain shelter. Sets up real fast, and you know, a whole variety of ways. Your creativity is the limit on how you set that up. It's a 9x7 tarp. They do make custom dimensions at Bora. You can order it however you want, however many guyouts you want, you know, dimensions. Really useful piece of equipment. Saved our butts a couple of times. Okay, work gloves and cold weather gloves. I was grateful that I brought both. These guys are not waterproof. They're the Outdoor Research. It's just a soft shell. You can tell they're not waterproof when you pick them up. They got a leather palm. The work gloves were real great. Anytime I was using a hatchet for firewood, or even just walking through all the brush, it was nice to have work gloves on that I could, you know, beat up and push sticks and stuff out of the way and not F my hands up, but then they're also not overheating while I'm hiking. So I really enjoyed having both. Just a little first aid kit. This guy is just a rain cover for the backpack. It goes over it, and then got some elastic points to keep it secured, and that was also very useful because if we were sitting in the rain and I didn't have to worry about my stuff getting wet. A couple of things that I did not bring, my buddy brought. He brought the tent, and we were using the Cabela's, I believe it's called the Alaska Guide, a 4-man tent, and that thing was awesome. Totally bomb-proof. That's just odor, like odor control from dead downwind. Good for hunting. You're not gonna be stinking out your zone. I mean, you are anyway. You're gonna stink. There's the cot. That guy weighs like 12 pounds. It's definitely not a backpacking cot, but very comfy. I think that's from Alpine something. I can do a video on these later too, I guess, but very comfy, very heavy duty. Okay, clothes. This is where I should have done this video outside, because this is gonna stink. So got a regular cotton t-shirt there. Obviously you never want to wear cotton against your skin when you're out in the wilderness, because it's just gonna it's gonna get wet and it's gonna stay wet, and it doesn't dry out very easily. So what I did was I brought a few cotton t-shirts just as a layering option, and I would put those on over a synthetic or wool blend base layer. These are from 32 Degree Heat. It's a super inexpensive base layer. These guys always have sales, and from what I've experienced, they're a great product. It did great. I wasn't overly cold. Got the bottoms from them as well. I got these just regular hiking pants. These are from Mammoth, and I couldn't tell you what model name they are, but they're very sticky. They're good, good pair of pants though. Not enough pockets for my liking. I definitely like having more cargo pockets when I'm out in the wilderness. Keep your stuff so you don't have to keep putting it in your pack, or your pockets aren't uncomfortably stuffed. This is a rain jacket from the North Face, also very good. Did the job. My clothes were still wet by the end of that. I mean, damp, but it kept me a lot drier than if I didn't have it. Just a regular micro fleece beanie, super cheap, super warm. Okay, another mid-layer sweater. That's the better sweater from Patagonia, usually underneath the jacket or something. This guy is my Mad Bomber hat. I bought this before I moved to Canada back in 2014, so it's been riding with me for a little bit now. And that's real rabbit fur on there. It's a fantastic piece of equipment. That guy is going to help you with any sort of wind. It's got this metallic-y kind of interior for reflecting heat. Super warm, super comfy hat. Yeah, would highly recommend that guy. Camelback water bladder, 3 liter, with an insulation hose or insulation sleeve on the hose. That guy, even with that, you're gonna want to, before you go to bed, blow the water out of your hose or it'll freeze overnight. And this is my net gator, which I thought I lost on day 2, and so I went the whole trip, other than the first 2 days, without a net gator. And I tell you what, the first 2 days, I was loving the net gator, and then I just found that today. So, bummer for that. We'll see if we find any of my other stuff that I lost while we were out there. So that's the Celtic Coyote. That's all the stuff that I had in there. Yeah. So then we'll move on to the duffel bag. Well, actually, let's go to this bag. It's on top. So this guy is the 511 Amp 72. It's a 40 liter pack, and it does pretty good. There's some cool features with this bag that, again, I'm not going to go into because it's not a video about the bag. Brought some cards. Those helped us, pass the time on those rainy days when we were stuck in the tent. Just brought some hard candies just to, keep busy when you're sitting on a hill for 8 hours a day or 14 hours a day. That's a luggage scale that I brought with me. Just it makes return travel a lot easier. Okay, this is probably you can make fun of me or whatever for this. I brought my whole freaking pillow from my bed because I believe that every person gets one comfort item on any sort of wilderness trip. And that's my one comfort item. Bought some of these spices for just for our meals. You can find that at like Fry's or Smith's or whatever. Useful, nice little luxury as well, I guess. Brought a book, read 1984 for the first time. Fantastic book, terrifying, depressing, but really good. Brought a couple of 48 ounce Nalgene's. So the deal with these, two was fine. I didn't need 2 because I had basically this guy was where I was grabbing my lake water or river water or whatever that was untreated that I would boil for my meals. This guy is the one that I would fill up with the lake water and treat it with those drops, and then use that as drinking water throughout the trip. That was good for like those electrolytes that I was showing you. You don't want to put that stuff in your Camelback bladder. Just some loose snacks. Watch. This has been a great watch. I've really liked it. It's the Suunto Core or something. Need to talk with the customer service department. The strap started failing on me, but again, I've had this for almost 5 years. So, but it's good. It's got a built-in barometer, so it sort of gives you, when the barometric pressure starts to drop, you kind of know, okay, there could be a storm coming in. We want to throw up a shelter so we can stay out here longer. That's good. With it being a built-in barometer, though, it's not connected to Wi-Fi or any sort of data. It's just reading like what it's physically surrounded by. So if you've got that guy tucked up underneath a jacket, it's going to read a completely different barometric pressure. So it is important to keep it outside of the jacket. This guy gives you sunrise and sunset times, which is valuable for hunting or for trying to gauge when you need to start heading back to your base camp. So that guy was awesome. Really glad I had the watch. It beats pulling your phone out of your bag all the time for sure. Just a random stuff sack for, I think I was thinking I was going to put laundry in that or something. Laundry just sort of ended up in a pile. Okay, the Yeti mug, the insulated mug. It's a great mug. I like it a lot for home and office use. That cap isn't going to hold anything. If your drink's sloshing around, it's just going to spill out. It works great and I love it, but hopping out there and then, hiking to a spot and sitting there in a freezing cold morning, that guy's not so practical. So something with a screw on top sealable top that's not gonna leak is a much better option, I think. There's just some snacks again, some trail mix and Snickers. I don't think I can ever look at trail mix or Snickers again. Some more base layers, just like some silk lightweight base layers. These did good too. I was happy with these. Yeah, it's not gonna tell me what they are, but they did just fine. Oh, little sharpening, little whetstone for knives and hatchets and stuff. Socks. So all my socks, I switched over last year to all my socks are Darn Tough socks. That's the brand name. These guys are the boot sock over the calf, so it comes, all the way up to under the knee. Wool socks, and they're awesome. Darn Tough. They do a lifetime warranty, so anytime you wear a hole through your socks or whatever, you just send them back and they'll either fix them for you or they'll just send you a new pair. So they're expensive up front, but I'm never gonna have to buy a sock again in my life, so that's cool. Just some meds, some Benadryl, some Imodium. The last thing you want is to have the squirts up on the mountain. Some Carmex for getting your lips sunburned. Gorilla Tape just for equipment repairs and stuff and taping stuff together. And Gorilla Tape is what you want, not duct tape, because duct tape will get all sorts of it'll come apart, fray in the sunlight, and that's not any good. So the Gorilla Tape's better for outdoor use. Okay, this is the last bag we've got. Poncho. Never ended up using the poncho, but it did rain quite a bit. That's some Camp Soap, same company as the deodorant, just a scent blocker. Camp Soap. This is the Possibles bag. Brought some hot sauce. Brought some flossers. Paracord. Didn't end up using that bundle because we have the red stuff that my buddy brought. Made some little chopsticks out there because I got real bored one day, and it's cool, whatever. Toilet paper, compass, just some salt supplements, just keep us hydrated while we're out there. Another eating tool, toenail clippers, because you don't want to get your toenails long out there, because that causes all sorts of problems with your boots and your feet. Just some shoe goo, just in case we had any sort of a malfunction on our footwear. Some tent patches. These guys, I ripped a hole in my rain pants. That's something that's a totally effective repair, is a tent repair kit. Brought some Tylenol just for headaches, super glue for minor cuts, and equipment repairs. We actually did repair some stuff with the super glue. Brought some extra batteries, Sharpie. Oh yeah, a little replacement buckle in case the buckle on my hip strap on my pack broke. I could fix that. Allergy medication, salt, pepper. I didn't use most of the stuff in this bag actually. So these are what we call Ranger bands, and it's just a cut up bike inner tube. Cut them into these little rings, and then you can strap them onto your lighter, and they actually worked as really effective fire starter. They burn real hot and slow. I like to just stuff that full of twigs and lint or smashed up leaves or whatever, make sort of a bundle, and then light that. The lighter, the thing I'll say about the lighter is you want to sleep with that in your pocket, because if you leave it out and it's freezing cold at night, that thing does not light up very effectively in the morning. So keep it warm, or it'll just have a tiny little light, and that's hard for lighting the stove or whatever. Tweezers, in case we ran into ticks or get a splinter, whatever. Good thing to have. That's a nice compression sack, small size. You can compress it down so it's not taking up too much room. E-tool. This is just a foldable shovel. This one's made by Glock and folds out. You sort of, crank on that. It's good to have a knife so you can get a little more leverage and get it tighter so the head doesn't move. That whole thing pops out like that, and then this guy unscrews, and it's a saw. You just set that there, slide that back down over it, and twist it on so then it's secure. Good, I guess, if you need a saw. Good for cutting down limbs and stuff, for firewood, whatever it may be. Fight a bear. This is my sleep system from Big Agnes. Super nice. It's good for backpacking. The bottom panel on the Big Agnes bags doesn't have any insulation in it. It's just a sleeve, just a nylon sleeve, and this is an inflatable sleeping pad. You just blow that up, slide it into that sleeve on the bottom, so you're saving weight by not having that extra insulation, and then it's also just a more stable sleep system. You're not sliding on and off of your sleeping pad all night. This is a 15-degree bag, and did okay. The thing that really saved my butt was having this fleece sleeping bag liner. Kept me super nice and warm every night. Just some wipes, good for a quick little shower, little wipe down shower. Same company again, Dead Downwind. That's just a hot drink for the morning. Get you a little bit of warmth and a little bit of energy. This is a chair, super light backpacking chair from REI, and it was kind of nice, I guess, to have it at the campsite at night. Definitely not a necessity. I don't know if I'd bring it again. There's nothing wrong with it, but I don't know if it was worth the space and the weight. Just more meds. Okay, so this is a grid fleece base layer. Very warm. I don't typically wear, this is a bottom, and I don't typically wear a very thick set of insulation on my legs, just because once you start moving, that's immediate sweat gonna happen. So if I wear a base layer at all, it's just gonna be a real light base layer, but typically I'm just doing the rain pants and a regular set of pants. That's Camp Lamp, nice for being in the tent or working around camp. Those are especially bad boxers. They made their way into their own Ziploc. Little camp hatchet. That guy was pretty nice, just for doing firewood. We brought a couple of pairs of trekking poles. Now, I brought one for my buddy and one for me, since we were just hiking with our relatively light packs every day, in and out. They didn't really do anything. Here's my gun case. I just packed a bunch of crap in here for the flight, just to keep it all together. So this is the Vault by Pelican. I think it's just the single pistol case, and it does great. I haven't had any problems with it. There's another lighter, can of bear spray, a couple boxes of 10mm, and I've got that gun in here, so I'll show that to you. Buck knife, tape measure, second headlamp just in case my first one ran into any malfunctions, and a Leatherman. I think this is the Leatherman Signal. Yeah, and that's been a fantastic tool. I love the Leatherman a lot. Yeah, but then, yeah, buck knife as well. That's just a buck 110, your classic. Okay, so here we go with chest rig. This is called the original kit bag from a company called Hill People Gear out in Colorado. They're just a small family company, but they make phenomenal gear. I have loved everything that I've ever had from them, and I've never heard anyone say anything negative. That's a tourniquet. This here is a bear spray holster from FHF, and that guy just goes right in there, and it sits pointing at the animal so you can deploy it from the chest rig. You don't need to get it out or anything. Typically I just have the tourniquet on the bottom there. Hunting and fishing license, some Ear Pro, and I'll do a whole video on this chest rig. I love it. Extra watch battery, just a couple stickers that I got because we crossed over the Arctic Circle. A little patch and a sticker, kind of fun. Okay, so here is my bear gun. That's a 1911 style 10 millimeter from Rock Island Armory. Yeah, Rock Island Armory, and it's fantastic. I like it a lot. The 10 millimeter is a freaking hand cannon. It's a big old round. That thing holds 8+1, I believe. More socks. Those are also darn tough socks. They're a little thicker than I like for hiking, so those were just sleeping socks. Whew. Jetboil. I couldn't tell you what version this is or anything. You just screw the fuel canister on, turn on the gas, and then light it with a lighter. They do make nicer ones that have their own like electric starter on them. Those are pretty cool. And you can get your backpacking sized canisters that actually will also fit in there with the rest of your gear. So pretty nice, pretty light, boils water super quick. I like that a lot. Just a towel. This is some Walmart special towel. Outgo is the name of the company. It's super light, super absorbent, real nice pack towel, packed down really small. There's a grid fleece, again for the top. Those I did wear those a lot as like a third layer, so I would do a regular thin base layer, then the t-shirt, and then that on top of it, or just chilling around camp. I just wear that, and it did the trick easily. It was very nice. Another base layer, some more just pants for just like a regular layer pant. I brought these, and I slept in them a couple of nights, just some sweats. Slept in them a couple of nights, and then found out it was much preferred to just sleep in the pants you were going to wear the next day, because then you don't have to put on cold clothes in the morning. You're just ready to go. I brought some insulated waterproof pants, and didn't ever end up using those. Didn't really get cold enough while we were up there. And then another base layer, sort of scarf thing. I didn't use that for anything. I just tossed it in because it doesn't weigh anything. And that is it. Hatchet cover. So yeah, that's it for the whole trip. That was all my gear, and it did just fine for me. I didn't have the rain pants in there. Rain pants are essential for that region. My buddy had some that he let me use, so I tore a hole in his pants, which was great. And yeah, that's it for the gear dump. Thanks for watching Gearfluent.